Day 2 of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, with the focus on China, Spain and Europe is underway. It's also a big day for the South African delegation, which will be speaking to investors behind closed doors. Meanwhile, the snow has reportedly hampered plans of protesters who want to demonstrate when US President Donald Trump arrives tomorrow. For more on what's happening, we now cross to SABC business anchor Francis Hurd, live in Davos. Good afternoon, Francis. Let's start with the Congress Center. What are the big discussions today?
Well, Nzinga, it really is mind-opening to be here. So I went to the session on China, one of the big ones, hearing from Mr. Hu, who is part of the Central Planning Committee, basically behind China's push to change its economy from something that provides us with cheap clothes made in China, big volumes, now talking about quality, how they're re-engineering their economy. And it really is incredible just to hear some of the plans. So China wants to lift, listen to this, 30 million people out of poverty over the next 3 years. That's more than half of South Africa's population, and that's their big plan. They've already done it over years. They've lifted 70 million people out of poverty, and it just shows what can be done with massive political will. And that's one of the main sessions. Also, the King of Spain is now talking at the same time. On the outskirts, you have multiple sessions going on at any time. Looking at fake news today, that's one of the items. And a lot about gender issues, a lot about refugees. Kate Blanchett, the entertainer, the actress, very well known, was here yesterday talking about refugees. And it really does make a difference to have this platform with a lot of people listening in here at the Congress Center, and the world listening in, because a lot of these sessions are broadcast everywhere across the globe.
Francis, what is Team South Africa up to today?
So they're very busy, Zinga. One of the things that Cyril Ramaphosa will be doing is holding behind closed door sessions with investors in the Congress Center interested in South Africa. And what we're really picking towards South Africa, Lesetja Kganyago, the Reserve Bank governor, has been telling international journalists that it's quite amazing. In previous years, South Africa was trying to reach out, saying we're open for business. He says the interest is huge, and they're coming to him saying, how do we invest? We've heard the same thing from South African business people who say there's really a different buzz, especially after Goldman Sachs said that South Africa was this hot emerging market for 2018. A very different mood on the ground. So they're up to a lot, and I can tell you that I saw Paul Mashatile in the Congress Center not far from here. So he's not part of government. He's the new Secretary General of the ANC, and obviously there is the sense that delegates here have taken notice of the change in the ANC, the talk of renewal, the talk of getting rid of corruption, and he's here presumably to enforce that message. But you see a lot of South Africans milling about at the moment because of that session taking place, I believe, right now behind closed doors.
Interesting that even the Treasurer General of the ANC is there at Davos. Francis, you're also experiencing some of the heaviest snow in 2 decades at Davos. How's that affecting the conference today?
So it's a beautiful day again, but you can see behind me the snow fall taller than me when it builds up. And this has been huge for traffic. Yesterday, we sat for hours. And now remember, US President Donald Trump is going to arrive. He's taking an overnight flight. He will be very active on the ground tomorrow. So there's dread because of what that's going to mean for the traffic when the snow melts. It's just incredible. People are shoveling snow off their roofs onto the roads, affecting traffic. So that's expected to get worse. But besides that, it's a pretty good day. The snow, however, has reportedly stopped US President Donald Trump protesters, people who want to protest against his appearance here tomorrow. The Swiss authorities are saying on German radio that they are not going to allow that because of the snow. So because of the possible gridlock, suggesting suggesting that otherwise they would be open to these demonstrations. The demonstrators do need permission if they're going to walk on the streets and things like that. So maybe it's convenient that they can use the excuse of the snow, saying that those demonstrations have been stopped. But we'll have to wait and see if anyone can break through. There's been a handful of demonstrators yesterday. Some tried to break over the barricade into the World Economic Forum area, and apparently a lot of polizia, the Swiss police, greeted them, and there was no major incidents there. But we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow.
Francis, very briefly, you'll be speaking to Bill Gates shortly. What's his message at the conference?
So his message, yes, and it will be great to chat to him about African issues. One of the big things for Bill Gates, who was this tech titan turned philanthropist, is malaria. And he's really here to talk about malaria. Remember that malaria has resurged in South Africa, and we're seeing outbreaks in one or two of our own provinces. People from Joburg suburbs, I know, going on holiday and coming back with malaria. And there's a concern that the previous efforts had cut down the incidence, especially among children, of contracting malaria, of dying malaria. That was cut more than in half. But now there's a resurgence, people not using the nets, the people involved in these global efforts trying to understand what's happening. And I think that's why he's here. Very important. He has a new initiative in Central America to basically eradicate malaria there completely. But we will focus on Africa and what the plans are, and maybe ask him, a big focus on technology and the fourth industrial revolution, things like that here in Davos every year discussed. It has huge implications for Africa. What if we don't get education right in South Africa? What if we don't get the skills in place, and suddenly we live in a world where only high-skilled people can be employed? I'd love to ask him what he thinks the next revolution is, and can Africa leapfrog, or will we be left behind? What do we have to do to gear up for that?
Francis Hurd coming to us live there from Davos, Switzerland at the World Economic Forum. She will be bringing us continuous updates of her time there.